Hello, 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 and welcome back to The Conversation Piece with your host, Akila. Season 1, podcast episode, The 3 Hurdles. This was my first podcast episode, and it has almost been 2 years. Wow. Time waits for no one. Now, I made some edits, both audibly and visually. So, if you want to hear the original, you are more than welcome to search for the episode, The 3 Hurdles. It launched on September 30th, 2020. So, salam. Welcome to The Conversation Piece. I am your host, Akila, and this is my podcast in which I will be exploring the multiple intersections of my life in the attempt to discovering who I am. What are those intersections? I am a BMW. No, not the car, but a Black Muslim woman. See? No trademark infringement intended. In my observations, there is so much more to being Black, to being a Muslim, and to being a woman. Especially now in this current climate, and I am not talking about the weather. I am much more than these identifiers because I do not allow myself to be boxed in by identifiers. I have always known and felt a bit different from the norm. Looking back at my life thus far, I have felt like an observing outsider, but one who was comfortable with not fitting in, even though I am still trying to find my place in this world. So, I have my mother to thank for that. One of the first pieces of advice that I took to heart came from my mother. She probably won't remember telling me this, but she said, "Your name is Akila. Your name is Arabic, and it means intelligent. You are unique, and you do not have to follow behind everyone else. Walk to the beat of your own drum." Now, Mother, I know you're listening. I paraphrased a bit, and I took some creative liberties, but you get the gist of what she was telling me. The other piece of advice that was given to me was also given to me by a woman, my old high school world history honors teacher, Mrs. Copeland. She said, "You're Black, you're female, and you're Muslim. Those are 3 hurdles that society has placed before you, and you must learn to jump over them. I have faith in you that you can jump over them." I still, to this day, take those words to heart. Let us start the journey down one intersection, Black. Now, I should warn you, I am not the spokesperson for Black people, nor am I trying to be. If you stuck with me so far, you're probably thinking, well, you don't sound Black. Well, I've heard this all my life, and from just about everyone. I do not know if it's a compliment or an insult. First, what does that mean, to sound Black? Well, in my experience, it depends on the messenger. See, with some white people, they tell me I talk proper or that I sound articulate, which is to say, I used the King's English. But how many people, regardless of skin tone, speak properly? Now, when Black people tell me I sound white, I take it as an insult. I have also been told that I'm not Black enough. Again, what does that mean? Like, okay, are you kidding me? So, I like music that comes from multiple countries: Korea, Japan, Germany, Nigeria. I like anime. I like sunsets. I like Vans. I'm referring to the shoes. I like to go for walks. I like to read. Now, I'm starting to sound like I'm applying for a dating app, but I hope you see where I'm going. See, there is no title holder to Black. One of the most beautiful things about Black people in the diaspora is that we are as diverse from everything to skin tone to personal interests, and never will be a monolith because we are human beings like everyone else. And humanity needs to learn how to love ourselves and be unique and stand strong together, like the colors of the rainbow. Do you see the red trying to tell the orange to be a certain way? No. Each color stands out, but they coexist together to reflect a beautiful phenomenon. By the way, did you know that rainbows appear in the sky opposite the sun? What? It's my nerd coming out. I just Googled that. So, like I mentioned before, I am a Muslim. I was born into religion, but a few years ago, I took the Shahada, which is the Muslim profession declaration of faith, which is La ilaha illallah and Muhammadan Rasulullah, which means there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of God. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Islam, which means peace, Islam is a religion that professes to believe in the one God, just like Judaism and Christianity. A Muslim is one who submits his or herself to the will of God, and the latest statistics have Islam with 2.8 billion followers and is considered the fastest growing religion in the world. I'm going to get a little serious here. My faith has never been an issue for me. Sure, there have been times when I have a question or two, but I still do. I don't feel there is anything wrong with questioning. It's how I learn. It's for clarity. I don't think one should follow anything blindly until one has a clear understanding of what they are about to undertake. I do not impose my views on anyone. And as a Muslim, that is not my job. It is not my job to make people Muslim. Surah 2, verse 256. Let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. Whoever rejects evil and believes in God has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. But there have been times when I feel like my religion was an issue for other people, and it shows itself in the most mundane situations. I do not drink alcohol. That is prohibited in Islam, because we are supposed to be in control of our faculties and in control of ourselves as much as possible. And alcohol, especially when it is abused, hinders that control. But there have been times when some people would take it as a personal affront if I did not join them in a drink. Like, make it make sense to me. How is my not drinking offending you? Even if I were allowed to drink, I still wouldn't do it because of the effect on the mind and the body. Sorry, but not sorry. I can have a good time without alcohol. Okay, next. I had a supervisor who, she told me once that she found it confusing trying to reconcile the fact that I was a Muslim compared to what the media displayed or what she knew of Muslims. So the way that I heard that was, so are you assuming I'm a terrorist? I was so taken aback that I should have asked her, well, outside of me, how many Muslims do you know? Now, she didn't call me a terrorist, and outside that statement, she was always respectful of my faith, despite her not having one. But growing up, when I would tell people that I was Muslim, the question that normally followed was, where were you born? I would answer, New York. Then sometimes I would get a follow-up, where were your parents from? My parents are American. Or when they found out my name is Arabic, they're like, wait, where were you born again? I mean, I get the subtext. When people hear Muslim, they think non-American or foreigner. And unfortunately, they think terrorist or that women in Islam are oppressed, completely conflating religion with culture. The fact is that the majority of Muslims are non-Arab, 80%. And most Muslims denounce violence and acts of terrorism, although we find ourselves on the receiving end of violence, discrimination, and other hate crimes. However, I do have friends who respect and appreciate me, and me being a Muslim is not an issue with them. In fact, when Ramadan comes around, and for those not familiar with Ramadan, that is the month in which Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset. Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings be upon him, through the angel Jibril during a 23-year span. But during this time, people who care, they find themselves being cautious around me, knowing that I am abstaining from food and drink during the day. Or when they prepare food, they're cautious to not cook anything with pork. But it's funny though, like some people think that we fast for like a whole month straight. It's like, no. We'll be dead. No. Hey you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Do you have Spotify? If so, turn on the notification button. The last intersection, woman. I made a few edits from the original episode. I added a discussion me and my friend had when Roe v. Wade was overturned. This conversation gets a little dicey and controversial, but this is just what we were feeling at the time. So if you take offense, my apologies.
What you just said summed it up for me too. Okay, so the other day, I was just, you know how you be sitting, most times for me, it be when I'm in the bathroom. And I was just sitting in the bathroom and it hit my heart. I was like, literally, I wrote, Roe versus Wade overturned. I was like, immediately, I felt a call to women. And I put it out. Have you seen it?
That's all.
Is that? Did that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Because it was kind of cryptic, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so along those things, that was my way of decompressing a little bit, just talking to women. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we have got to come together.
Yeah.
We have got, okay, put on that. Listen, let me tell you something. You know what I mean? Like, that whole vibe, that was the vibe of that post. And it's crazy that you say, but I ain't even mention Roe versus Wade on purpose. Mm-hmm. I ain't even say it. I ain't use it in a hashtag. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so what you just saying, oh my gosh, that is so.
Because the thing is that, you know, and I was discussing this with AJ yesterday about how, you know, we live in a country where, you know, you're no longer educated, you're indoctrinated. And so if you don't know your history, it's very easy for them to play you like a fool. And so most people are like, oh, Roe versus Wade is in the Constitution. It's like, no. Listen, people. If the word woman appears nowhere in the Constitution, where do you think abortion would not be in the Constitution? It's not a constitutional right to an abortion. That doctrine that there's people who, and this is what kills me about the Supremes, as I call them. You have some of them on the bench who they're called originalists, you know, and they're part of the Federalist Society. And these are people who they want the Constitution interpreted as they thought what they intended. It's like, how do you know what these dead white slave colonizing people knew or wanted over 250 years ago? I mean, apart from the fact that they own slaves, some of them, and, you know, a lot of them, it was wrestling with their spirit that, you know, like, well, what do we do with, you know, with these people who everything they do is thinly veiled about how do we control a group of people? And then here they come.
That's not us.
Right.
I mean, that's not them. Mm-hmm.
Right. That document is for them, but with it is like the maneuvers of how you control people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, It's funny how y'all gonna sit there and make a ruling on abortion when y'all know damn well you don't even know how a woman's body functions. Every woman is different. Every woman has her issue, and every woman makes that decision. If she decides to make it, that's not an easy decision to make.
No, it's not.
That's like a group of women coming together and putting up a doctorate and then making a decision on, you know, whether or not men should have vasectomies by the time they're 15 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, do people understand, like, there's been an attack on anyone who was not a white man since the foundation of this country? Like, I mean, there's a thing called a pink tax. Do people know what a pink tax is? How they tax feminine products more than they tax men products? That
is crazy.
Yes. So it's almost like you're punishing us because we're a woman? I can't stand Clarence Thomas. Yeah, God, I said it. Then he gonna talk about, well, now we're gonna look at some other issues like contraceptives and I'm like, oh, really? So when I heard that, I'm like, well, hell, where's the bar? Where's the line? If you're gonna go after that, then there is no line. You're gonna go after everything you feel there's an infringement on someone else's, especially the church, the evangelicals. You know, because the way they interpret that Bible, Lord have mercy.
I know.
Because y'all supposed to be followers of Jesus. But I noticed he stopped short. I'm talking about Clarence Thomas. I noticed he stopped short of interracial marriage because he's married to a white woman. It's like, oh, you're gonna attack every other amendment, but you ain't gonna go after Virginia versus Loving. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I know the evangelicals. I know they're gonna go. I just have a feeling they're gonna go after same-sex marriage next.
Yeah, probably. They probably are. They're probably working on a plan now.
It's like y'all don't understand how this affects them with their property, how it affects them with how they can if God forbid they're in the hospital, to the point where at some point you weren't able to even go and see your loved one. Oh. You know, it's like y'all just looking at surface shit. So. You know, leave people alone and mind your business. You see the empire falling, and it's falling for. And like I think I told AJ this. I said, listen, when America falls, it's not gonna be because of Russia. It's not gonna be because of China. It's gonna be because of us. We're gonna do it to ourselves.
It ain't really lasting. It's just y'all using other people as tape and nails and wood. That's y'all using other people to hold y'all mess together, but it's still gonna crumble. Yeah, I mean, because I'm starting to listen to like how they use language, because they've always said American democracy was an experiment. They said the American experiment. So what is an experiment? So you toss shit around, right? You have this hypothesis of how this is your hypothesis, right? And then you test around it. If it doesn't go the way you want, then you're just like, okay, now why is that not happening? Okay, let me try this way. You know? You try another variable. Right. Whatever the case may be. It's just what happens. The variables are human beings, the lives you're messing with. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all the support. For those of you who follow me on Spotify and don't want to miss out on any new episodes, turn on the notification button. You can also find the Conversation Piece podcast on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, RadioPublic.com, Breaker.audio, and Anchor.fm/Akilah Lynch, spelled AQUILA-LYNCH. Thank you for your support. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Conversation Piece podcast. I am your humble host, Akilah, requesting that you join me again. So, until then, be safe, love, and value yourself so that you can love and value others. I bid you adieu with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you.